Welcome to Caching in the Northwest. As you know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 in the Great Pacific Northwest. Now, each week we're going to talk to talk about caches and to cachers. Otherwise, it gets boring. From here and all around the globe. So while you're watching the blast that blasted blubber beyond all believable bounds for the 50th time, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Oh, happy anniversary to that whale. Well, of course, that means it's time to bring in our blasting baboon. Some say his personality is more explosive than a half-ton of dynamite. And others say he has a stinking whale of a time. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Hello, my friends. Good to be here. Yes, definitely. It's a special anniversary tonight.
Special is a good word.
Interesting news story. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But I also want to introduce over beside me on the screen, to those who are watching live and to those who are listening, you are about to hear his voice. It is Stephen Hoy, the author of 105 Hikes in Southwest British Columbia. We're going to talk to him about his book and apparently a new upcoming book. Stephen, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It is our pleasure to have you on the show tonight. All right. So what's with the whale blubber, Chris? You gotta let our listeners know. Maybe listeners haven't heard this story before.
Yeah. So in Florence, Oregon, 50 years ago on this day, I can't remember how large, a very large sperm whale washed up on the beach. It was dead, and it came upon the Department of Transportation to remove it, and they decided to use dynamite to do so. It's something that you've got to go watch. But earlier this year, the people of Florence were asked to name the city's newest riverfront park, and they chose to memorialize that day of blasted blubber by dubbing it Exploding Whale Memorial Park. Can you believe this?
I can.
Okay. The park offers
memorial. I mean, that's respectful, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. It offers views of the Siuslaw River.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those. And the sand dunes across the water with access to the river beach. There are picnic tables and a shelter and a multi-use path, but sadly, no whale carcasses, exploded or otherwise.
I don't find that sad at all, actually.
They did a good job cleaning up.
Yeah, I mean, by 50 years, it should be gone.
Well, the scavengers, the seagulls, and the crabs and what have you will have cleaned that up by now.
Yeah. The seagulls that were supposed to clean things up were nowhere to be found after the blast.
Stephen, were you familiar with that story? Had you heard that one?
I wasn't, but I think they'll probably need some interpretive panels if I go there.
Nice. Brilliant. All right. Well, so one of the things that we also like to do, besides talking about exploding whales at the beginning of the podcast, is to throw out a quick reminder that we do appreciate the support of our patrons who help to keep the podcast coming each and every week. Thanks to Land Sharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Special message tonight from Land Sharks. They remind us that they are packing and shipping orders daily. This year, Canada Post is having their highest parcel volume in the history of Canada Post. So don't wait until December. Get your orders in soon. And folks, if you want to know more about supporting this podcast, click that Patreon link over there, over there on the cachingnw.com, a website.
Folks, it's so busy with Canada Post and the U.S. Postal Service. Make sure you get those gifts in early. And if you want to send something else in, why don't you send in a glow? What's a glow, you may ask? Why, it's a geocaching log of the week. Whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it because great logs simply make geocaching better. You can send an email or a field recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call into 253-693-TFTC and show us how you glow. Now, this week, we've got a special glow in the form of a video. Let me make sure everything is ready here. And it is not, because there we go. Now I'm ready, and here we go.
Geo Challenge of the month is that I need to thank you. I need to thank you in my log, but this is perfect. I can thank you in person.
You're very welcome, and I'm just touched.
Let's do it. But let's make sure we're socially distanced, okay?
Yeah,
okay.
Of course, 6 feet.
I'm going to dictate this log to you. Dear Todd, thank you so much for making my birthday so special. Every year, I find at least one geocache on my birthday, and this year, this was the one. Even when I was struggling, you made sure that my birthday was going to be a good one, and you said, Josh, I'm not going to let you get that DNF. No, I'm going to show up, and I'm going to help you find that cache. But you know what? I found it by myself anyway. But I'm glad I'm here, looking you in the eyes, thanking you for your contribution to this great hobby and to our friendship. Thanks for being a good geocaching buddy. Love, Joshua.
There you go.
Oh, that was nice. It was nice that he finally made it on a real podcast and everything, you know?
So Joshua contacted Chris earlier today with that. Is that
Yes.
how that came to be? That's funny.
Yes. And so, yes, he put it up as an official glow. So how very nice.
He'll get himself a glow badge. Good
That's
stuff.
right.
Awesome.
Now, folks, if you want to get involved in today's topic, because I know you do, use the hashtag hikes right there in the chat. And of course, if you want to talk about something a little later in the after show, use the hashtag FATAS. That's for the after show. And we'll make sure that's in there. And we'll talk about all the good stuff you're doing. And don't forget, you can also use hashtag podcast baking to tell us what you're baking tonight, because so many people seem to be baking. Okay. Hey, we've got a little bit of news.
Do tell.
Starting with the geocaching blog. They have given a new premium member feature. You can revisit your resolutions with the new searchable DT grid. We've all been there. We've set lofty goals for the year, and suddenly life, or just 2020, happens. And come November, your resolutions are long forgotten. Thankfully, we're introducing a handy new feature that makes it a whole lot easier to get the goals, to set a goal and stick to it. If you've been wanting to fill your difficulty and terrain grid, it's time to revisit it with the new ability to search for all the specific combinations you are missing. Whether you're just starting out or have already filled your difficulty and terrain grid, your DT grid, the new searchable tool can help you achieve that goal. So you go to your stats page there on geocaching.com, scroll down till you reach the difficulty and terrain grid, use the button below it to search for all the combinations that you need. And the search results will be displayed in a list format. You can map them. You can put them in a list. You can do whatever you want with them in that. And then finally, go out and find them and fill in that grid. So now, if you've already filled in your grid, and I know some of you have, you can fill your grid again. Hit that button and it'll search for the DT combos you need to do it a second, third, fourth, 18th time, how many ever. So
that's a feature that I'm familiar with from Project GC, and it looks like now they've got it built right into the main website. Cool.
Exactly. So only for premium members, though.
Only for premium members.
Yeah. See that $30 a year?
Gotta pay that $30 a year.
Off,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Yep.
There you go. At least you're getting a little bit more for your $30 a year.
There's one more bit of news. This is also from headquarters. 7 years of film fun, a good GIF retrospective. In 2013, an intrepid group of lackeys banded together to create an event so spectacular it would send shockwaves across the international geocaching community. The Geocaching International Film Festival. What started out as an event in Seattle quickly grew to an international phenomenon, with hundreds of events in 71 countries. The first GIF took place in 2013 after the block party held outside Geocaching HQ. It was a beautiful August day. I remember it well. Hundreds of geocachers gathered beneath a giant inflatable screen to enjoy the creations of the community. We saw films that made us laugh, made us cry, got us inspired. As we announced last year, GeoWoodstock is taking a brief intermission until the credits roll on 2020. However, that doesn't mean we can't look back at the 7 exciting years of GeoWoodstock this year. Look out for the best of GeoWoodstock reel coming out November 17th.
Oh, just a few days. That'll be good.
Just a few days away.
I think
Yeah.
everybody's waiting for the credits to roll on 2020. I think we're all kind of done with
Oh,
this year.
man.
Credits to roll, or just pull the sheet over it and shoot
Yeah.
it.
Called TOD.
Yeah. 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 I predict that's going to be a great highlight reel, but I also predict we're not going to hear anything from Dear Geocache Guy in that reel.
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah.
It's too bad.
Oh,
I think that'd be the perfect spot,
Yeah, it would.
especially in 2020.
yeah, it's
Right?
it's seemingly appropriate. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got glow and news and all the intros out of the way. Let's bring it back to why we're all here tonight. We're here to talk with Stephen Hoy about his awesome book. And Stephen, I'd once again like to officially welcome you to the podcast. And
Thank you.
maybe for our listeners that haven't met you yet, aren't familiar with your book, let us get to know you a bit. Let them get to know you a bit. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you got interested in hiking all these fantastic trails?
Yeah, so I'm from Vancouver. I spent pretty much my whole life in Vancouver, except for a little detour in Toronto that didn't last very long. And so yeah, I've always liked hiking here. You know, I grew up going to, you know, being in scouts and, you know, the school outdoor clubs and whatnot, and always had this dream of writing a hiking guidebook, and you know, luckily I got to do that, and you know, here I am.
Nice.
Very
Now,
cool.
Stephen, we like to ask our guests a question, and this isn't in the show notes, so this is going to come from out of the blue, but it's just a little, you know, icebreaker to get to know you a little bit. So I've grabbed a question here from the deck that says, what's something that people think makes them look cool, but actually makes them look ridiculous?
Oh, it's a tough one. Probably like these big mustaches.
Well, you're in good company tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say a man bun, but
Oh,
If you have
too
to put
funny.
man in front of a hairstyle, it's not a real
Yeah.
hairstyle.
There you go.
Oh, too funny, too funny. Well, Stephen, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. And you know our audience is going to be keen to find out the answer to this next question. So we'll just get it out of the way early. Have you ever tried geocaching while you've been out on your hikes?
I have only a few times, mostly because I forget to do it. Like I've meant to do it way more times than I've done it.
Okay.
But I do like finding them. I find them more accidentally than I do intentionally. You know, you find them along the trail or at a summit. It's sometimes mixed in with the summit register. So, but there's definitely been a few times where, you know, we've gone intentionally and looked for them, especially good with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. There you go. Unexpected answer. We're used to guests coming on and saying, "No, what is this geocaching business you're talking about?" Awesome. Extra points for Stephen.
yes.
Hooray! That's why we have him on the show.
That's right.
Now, Stephen, your book is called 105 Hikes in and Around Southwestern British Columbia. What area does this cover? I mean, Southwestern British Columbia is a pretty big area.
Yeah, so it's centered around Vancouver, BC, but it goes all the way up to past Pemberton in the north, down in the south to you know, Anacortes in the Salmon Islands in Washington, a little bit of Baker and Bellingham, and it goes west to Victoria and Vancouver Island, and then east over to the Coquihalla Pass and the Manning Provincial Park area. So it's a fairly large area, but all kind of within a day or weekend trip distance from Vancouver.
All right. Well, it makes sense. My rough math says the vast majority of residents of British Columbia are in southwestern British Columbia, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
there's got to be some some great hikes where the population density is, but what prompted the decision to write about these specific hikes? How did you come up with 105?
Well, I just started making a list and of hikes that I thought deserved to be in there, and also trying to cover a wide variety of regions, so a bit of a geographic spread. But these are all hikes that I've enjoyed and that will have appeal for other people. And it's also kind of a wide range. There's some really easy ones, then there's some more difficult 12-hour type ones that you'd probably rather do overnight, but you can do it in a day. It's a real mix, super scenic, and then some that are more just local favorite type things you could do over and over. So it's a variety, really. I really wanted to get a variety of things in there.
Very cool.
Nice.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have a question from Keats94 in the live chat. He says, how long did it take to research and create such an awesome book?
Oh, thanks. Like the leading question, that it is awesome. It was totally awesome to write, and it took it was two intense years, but then I also was able to use some research from a couple years before that as well. But I had 2 years to write the book, and so it was 2 intense years of doing tons of hiking and then cramming all the writing in at the end.
Fantastic. So related to that, what was the most challenging part of putting the book together?
In some ways, it was getting all the time to get all the hikes in and getting around everywhere. Like it's a large area, so just scheduling it all. But the hardest part is the writing. The writing, it was kind of painful. Just you had to sit down and do it. I procrastinated so long I had to take a month off work to finish it. The end.
Yeah.
Nice. So you'd rather be hiking than writing.
Yeah.
But you produced a great book. As the author of 105 hikes, how many of those hikes have you done more than once? Yeah,
it's a large number. So I'd say I've done a little over half more than once, but some of them I've only done once, and I hope to do. Well, I intend to do them again for future updates to the book.
Okay. So we can look for 106 hikes to do soon, because obviously that would be the next one, right?
I think that would be awesome, but I think the publisher is probably going to stick with the title and just put out a second edition in a few years.
Okay. Well, asking you to pick a favorite would be like asking a parent to pick a favorite child. We realize that. But Keats94 wants to know, out of all the hikes in your book, which one is your most favorite hike?
Well, that's why I only have one child, so I don't have to get in trouble for that. I think that out of this 105 hikes book, one of my favorites, or my favorite, was Mount Rohrer up by Pemberton. Just a beautiful, long day hike. You could do it overnight. You've got that beautiful turquoise glacial lake, and then you've got a little bit of a scramble at the top of the mountain there, and no one's going to be up there because you're pretty far. Mm-hmm. And that was just that's probably my favorite that I remember from writing the book.
Okay, it sounds like a great hike. We've been close. I don't think I've been quite that far up, but now I have to go there and check that one out. So on a related note, maybe that's your favorite, but let's say somebody was coming that doesn't live there, doesn't from the area. Maybe I'm coming to I'm going to visit the Fraser Valley or Metro Vancouver when I'm allowed to come up there again. Which trails would you advise somebody like that to come and say that, no, these are a must hike? You got to do these ones.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go up the Sea to Sky area towards Whistler and Squamish, it's probably something like Garibaldi Lake or Water Sprite Lake. The beautiful glacial lake in a cirque. And then if you're in the valley, if you've got say a 4x4, then Chiem Peak, just for amazing views of the Cascades on the Canadian side and the American side. Or somewhere up in the Fraser Canyon, maybe. That I like the Tequalis Trail. You get a bit of history, and you get this kind of dry canyon views. So there's lots.
I love Tequalis. It's one of my favorite hikes.
Yeah,
great hike. It's a tough one, but it's a great one.
Yeah.
We had another question that came in. So Keats had a question that's very similar to Helen's question. So we'll ask Helen's. And Helen's question is, what makes a hike worthy of being in the book, Stephen?
Well, I have like a 5-star rating system in the book, and there are a few hikes that I would rate 0 for being poor, and so those couldn't be in the book. Hikes that I just wouldn't recommend to anybody. They're just not worth doing even once. So if I thought a hike was recommendable and it'd be a worthwhile experience, it's got something nice about it, a forest walk, or there's views or something. Just as long as I'd recommend it to others, it was kind of worthy in the book. And then it was a matter of picking and choosing and trying to get stuff that represents the region.
Okay. Well,
Nice.
Related to that, I mean, Keats asked what criteria you use to rate certain hikes. Now, you said you have a 5-star criteria. What kind of factors go into the 5 stars?
Yeah, so there's 2 ratings for each hike. There's the quality rating and there's a difficulty rating. So the quality rating is the stars, and that's kind of a reward to exertion sort of ratio.
Okay.
It's kind of, the amount of scenic beauty you get and the amount of enjoyment you get out of that hike versus how tough it is. So if a hike is super scenic, but it's like 5,000 feet of elevation gain, that'll knock it down a bit. But if you can just walk half an hour and all of a sudden you're in an alpine meadow, it's going to score pretty high. So it's kind of it takes into account the benefits and the exertion, and then the difficulty side is more that's dealing with the steepness, how much elevation gain there is, what the terrain's like. There's easy, moderate, difficult, and advanced. And advanced that's the stuff that you shouldn't be a beginner. There might be some off trail travel, you might need to be able to navigate. There might be some scrambling.
Okay,
that's really good to know. There's another question. Our chat is just going wild tonight already.
They love you, Stephen.
Yeah, we got a question from Komakino that says, what makes those hikes so terrible? Is it terrain, lack of decent views? What would a 0-star hike be for you?
Yeah, so a 0-star hike, an example is Hutt Lake up near Squamish, and essentially you walk a logging road the entire way. And there's a beautiful lake on the way, but it's at a campsite that's covered in drunks and beer cans. And then there's the only place where you get a view on the way is where there's like a radio tower and there's technological garbage around. And then you just keep on walking and walking, and then you think you're going the wrong way. You're wondering if you're getting there, and you get to this lake, and the lake is really pretty, but not pretty enough to justify the walk all the way there. And then you got to walk uphill on the way back. So and the forest is kind of ugly around there for some. In some way, it's some odd way. And there's also just motorized vehicles coming by you once in a while. So it's there's a lot of factors that make it less recommendable than it would be.
So Stephen, what I'm hearing is the criteria that gets a bad rating is if it sucks.
Yeah. Because I like everything. Like I'll do any hike, once or twice, right? I even enjoyed Hutt Lake, but in terms of this book, it was one of the few hikes that I did during the research for 105 hikes that I was like, yeah, it doesn't deserve to be in there.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Now, Stephen, you have a new book coming out, because apparently one is just not enough for you. You have another one coming out, Destination Hikes in and around Southwest British Columbia. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's a kind of a follow-up book to 105 hikes, and it has 55 new hikes, so hikes that aren't in the first book. And what I like about this book, I feel like I learned a lot from doing the first book, so I feel like the writing's better and I put it together better, and it's more in depth. There's much more writing for each hike. there's a lot more photos rather than the one photo for each hike. I'm able to talk more about geology and geography and the history of the areas and everything. I think it's 55 hikes, and it's called destination hikes because it really kind of is supposed to focus the hiker's attention on old growth trees and waterfalls and swimming holes they might find around on the way. So it's got icons kind of pointing out those, and but the main thing is that it's a chance to do some new hikes.
Nice.
That's neat. I'm looking forward to that. We'll plug the website a little bit later where people can get more information about it. But I think doing a little bit of research for this podcast, I saw something that I'd never seen before, and maybe just because I'm new to the world of book publishing, but you actually had a video preview of the book. So that was different.
Well, I didn't know about this stuff till recently, but apparently some people do book trailers. So I was like, I got to have one. So I
Yeah.
Mine doesn't have a narrative arc or anything. It's just basically a photo slideshow, but I call it a book trailer.
That's awesome. And the way you've described the new book sounds fantastic. So you said it's 55 hikes that are not in the 105 book, and there's all kinds of great details, photos, everything on them. Wow, sounds like a must-have to me.
Cool. And there's it covers kind of a similar region, but there are some different parts. Like it does goes to some places like Nanaimo and Galiano Island that weren't in the other book. In Washington, we go down to State Route 20 to do a few hikes, which are those hikes in Washington are amazing. So yeah, it's it was fun for me really to do that book because it made me do a lot of hikes I hadn't done before.
Excellent. So it's called in and around Southwest British Columbia, and just like our podcast, you definitely mean around. It's you're covering the Northwest pretty well there, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I always thought that with the hiking books up here, they always stuck to BC, and like Vancouver. I mean, a circle around Vancouver. I mean, Bellingham's right there. It's closer than going to Whistler. It's just it made sense for me to include stuff south of the border because I found myself going a lot to hike going over the border to hike. So yeah, I just thought a cross border guide made sense.
Yeah, right up till March, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to dwell on that. That's depressing.
Moving along, Christy.
I want to hit some of these hikes.
Yeah.
In BC, and all I can do is wait and hope and read a book about it.
The live chat continues to be very, very busy. Do you guys want to grab some of the questions for Stephen from there?
So Wet Coaster wants to know, what software do you use on your phone and computer while you're out hiking and making these books and maps and such?
So I was using Motion X GPS on the iPhone. That app was amazing, and you only had to pay for it once. It was so cheap, and it was, it's from the era of like 10 years ago or so, where you just paid once for an app, and it kept on working. And it actually stopped working on me this year. And then I went and looked it up, and apparently it hadn't been in the App Store for like 2 years or something. Like the company had just moved on to other things, and it just had been working on my phone the whole time. And so I, now I'm trying Gaia, but it's really not working very well on my phone. Like it keeps on, losing a signal and everything. So I'm trying to, if anyone has any recommendations for iPhone GPS apps that I could use that are as good as Motion X GPS was, put it in the chat so I can get some help here.
That sounds familiar. I think I used that app way back.
I know I did. Yeah.
Yeah. My last iPhone was an iPhone 3GS, so it's been a while.
Perfect. Well, sometimes all you have to do is just ask a question like that, Stephen, and the chat will start some research for you.
I bet it will.
All right. So what else do we have here? Keats had shared that he headed up to Twin Lakes this summer, There were so many marmots and incredible views. He saw Stephen, he saw your rating for the hike and he felt he just had to go. So he strongly recommends Twin Lakes, which I believe is hike 47 from your book.
Oh, thanks, Keats. Yeah, that hike is incredible, and the marmots, you're absolutely right. I've never seen as many marmots up there. You practically step on them. It's just insane.
Nice. I'm trying to look at things in the chat as well, and I can't find what I'm looking for. Mrs. Landshark says we're working on 10 tougher treks, which involves 10 hikes in southern Vancouver Island. So,
oh, cool.
That's nice.
That's a geocaching challenge. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
There's a GC code, GC4W6Z0.
You're right. I saw that and assumed it was a link to the a book or something, and I just read right past it. So there you go.
We're all avoiding this next one from Keats because none of us can pronounce it. But
nope.
No, everybody's okay. Everybody's bailing. I'm going to give it a try. All right. So get ready to receive some mail for this one. All right. Keats says, thank you for adding the forward by Tietnet Siswis. Nope, I'm sure that's wrong. Anyways,
Siswis.
Thank you. Keats says it's so important to recognize the presence of the Indigenous people of the area, and it was beautifully written. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, the forward really, Cis is a kind of ethnobotanist activist that I admire a lot, and I was so thrilled that she was able to write the forward, and it really is a wonderful way to start the book. It really is perfect.
Very cool.
All right, well done, Land Monkey.
Almost. I almost got it.
Yeah, I don't think I would have done any better. You did great. Mrs. Landsharks also wants to throw out a thank you that says she read a portion of the author's royalties will go to the Hope Mountain Center for Outdoor Learning to support trail building and maintenance. And she said that is very cool. Thank you, Stephen, for doing that.
Yeah, that's for destination hikes, and I love what the Hope Mountain Center does, and the trails they're working on, the way they mix in the culture and the history of the area. It's really great.
Very, very cool.
Nice. Well, Stephen, you asked for help.
Yeah.
And we have some. So Mrs. Landshark says, I've been using Gaia GPS on my iPhone without an issue. I love that I can put a GPX file on it too. We've used it to solve an azimuth puzzle on the weekend.
Yeah, I think it might I'm not sure what it is. It must be I have a setting wrong or something, but if the screen's not on, it just keeps on cutting out. I've got all those settings on, I believe, properly, but it's not. The settings aren't actually working on my phone for some reason.
Brian
turning it off and on again.
That it has Gaia GPS has many powerful features, but he has little experience with it.
Because I actually have run a couple apps at the same time on my phone, and for some reason Gaia cannot, keep a signal. It'll keep on cutting out and giving me some crazy line.
Wait, this just in. From Brian Lang that says, apparently iPhones are not great at running GPS in the background when the phone is off. I don't think that's true from 13 on. I think 13 on, they made a big step forward on that. And, GPS can always run in the background and drain your battery, nothing flat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a feature.
It's a feature.
Yes.
All right.
Web Coaster apparently is not feeling well. Yeah.
All right. So, Stephen, if our listeners are interested in getting the 105 or getting the new book that's coming out, where would they find those books?
Yeah. So the new book's coming out next May 2021, and they can look at 105hikes.com for info. And yeah, people always ask where the books are, and I'm like, well, it's at Amazon, Indigo, Barnes and Nobles, and your local bookstore. So it's even I've even seen it in bookstores in Bellingham and Seattle. So it's there.
Ooh,
Nice.
all the way down here in the wilds of Seattle.
Probably not too many great hikes in the wilds of Seattle.
None that I'd want to take anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and if a listener had another question or wanted to reach out and get in touch with you personally, do you have any social media channels that can follow, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, just just go to the 105.com website, and I've got my email address on there. The Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and the other time wasters. So
They are that indeed.
Yeah.
I heard a podcast this week that recently said, if you're not on Twitter, don't start. But if you are, follow me here. That's
exactly.
great advice.
Yeah. Social media. Isn't it great?
That's great.
No, it's not.
Oh. Hey,
Well,
folks.
Yeah. I
Oh, go
was
ahead.
just going to say before we wrap that part up, I was just going to thank Stephen for coming on, and in particular sharing about the new book. You've shared more than what I was able to find out from a brief little bit of research I did online about it, and it sounds awesome. Sounds really great. So we're very excited to see that come out. And you said May next year.
Yeah, May 2021, and thanks a lot for having me, guys. And I think this is probably my first interview about the book, so it's the new book. So that's probably why there's hardly any info out there.
We're
Well,
honored.
now there is.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times there's breaking news like that on caching in the Northwest. It happens all too often.
Yeah.
We are on the cutting edge of news in outdoor entertainment here in the Northwest and Southwest here. So.
It's a CNW scoop.
There you go.
Hey, folks, if you enjoyed this show, and we hope you did, stay tuned next week. We are going to have Search and Rescue, North Shore. So the producer from that new TV show is going to come on and talk to us a little bit about it.
Yep.
And
First episode aired Tuesday night.
Ooh, boy. I don't think I can I'm going to have to see how I can find that here.
Yeah.
You can stream it online.
Yeah, the border's not closed for that.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Nice.
But yes, that I'm definitely looking forward to that. I mean, we've got great guests week after week. Delighted to have Stephen here, learn more about the book. So thank you very much again, Stephen, for joining us. And you're more than welcome to stick around for the after show.
I will.
All right. Well, we'll see what kind of mischief we get into there. And speaking of mischief, I want to take a moment to thank Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online, and remember that they are shipping those online orders daily. And like we said off the start, get your orders in early this year.
That's right. And we want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That is Landsharks, JP Geo Design, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cashly. If you want to know more about supporting the show, find that Patreon link and click on it somewhere on the CachingNW.com website. Just like Camp Clan has done.
And CRS 98.
And Sprouter.
Broncos fan for life.
Sege Hove.
Team Noltex.
LG 9000.
Logwork.
Tickamagnet.
MC3 Cats.
Keats 94.
Hackerdoc.
Seebeck Tribe.
Ella Robrick.
T. Sayer.
Wino Seattle.
Cattle Barb.
Antaeus.
Subway Mark.
Genies.
Fairwood West.
Green Words.
Boomer 365.
On a Boat.
Kitty Quest.
M Nerf.
And Donners, our newest patron.
Ooh, staring at you.
You Talks to Rocks.
Limax.
Just finding our way.
The Geo Travelers.
GeoNav Pros.
Kev MacD.
Billy Robson.
Trexer Zero.
Doramore.
GSM ×2.
Wet Coaster.
Kid Vegas 19.
And of course, B Pendragon.
Oh, we thank all of them. We thank once again Stephen for joining us tonight. And you mentioned 105hikes.com is the place to go. And maybe your geocaching handle, if people are really, they could find you on geocaching, right? All right. Well, hey, what's that?
It's been a while since I loaded up the app, so I can't remember my
That's okay.
my pen.
I wonder about mine sometimes too. But for listeners, if you're new here, let's see. Down below me is Land Monkey. Over there somewhere is Chris of the Northwest, and I'm Wits End. We are all on social media, and if you head over to cachingnw.com/hosts, you can find bios, information, and more stuff than you probably wanted to know.
Social media links you probably shouldn't click on anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, but thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be part of the show. You can call into 253-693-TFTC. You can email us a video, leave us a comment, or be willing to carry us on a hike anywhere, or maybe 105 hikes. Any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click the Patreon link on the cachingnw.com website and subscribe on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. And you can't get those out of order, or I can't do it quickly and easily. You know what? Give us a thumbs up or a review. The show's produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2020 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
All the sound effects and everything.
You gotta have them, right?
Yeah. There's nothing like professional.
No, nothing like professional.
No, and this is nothing like it.
Exactly. All right. Well, here we are in the after show.
You guys are
The
no
first hashtag FATAS we've got is from UDAC. Welcome to the after show, UDAC. And the question is, has anyone added alt text to images on their cache pages?
Yes, someone has.
Yes. And I think that's coming from another geocaching.com blog article where they were encouraging having alternate text added to your images on your profile to
I saw that email this week.
to help folks who maybe are visually just can't get as much information. Visually impaired. Thank you. That's the word I was searching for. There you go.
Brylang says, I have since I created my caches, but I'm a web developer and I know the importance of using alt attributes in my HTML images or HTML pages.
Very cool.
So
good opportunity to pat himself on the back there.
Yeah. I hope he didn't hurt his arm. No, he's good. You know, I tend not to do that. That's just the way I am. I figured you don't need it on a kind of an internal web page like geocaching.com, but you know, I am not a web developer, so I don't think that way.
Yep.
I try to. I can't say I always have, but I always try to do that.
GSM times 2 asked, was your childhood better without computers, tablets, and social media?
Oh, yeah, he said someone asked that and people said yes.
Yeah.
So he asks, would your adulthood be better without those things?
I'm sure they would be,
yeah. Probably so.
Yeah.
The interesting question is, was your childhood actually better, or are you just being nostalgic?
No, childhood's just better than being a grown-up anyways.
Pretty much, yeah.
I grew up in the Midwest. I mean, you know, I played with snow and dirt.
And I was happy. Yeah. I never grew up at all, so.
Well, that's true.
There you go, Peter. All right. Keats asks if anyone's seen the first episode of North Shore Rescue yet. He thought it was fantastic. Stephen, have you had a chance to see that yet?
I haven't, but I'm definitely going to watch all the episodes because I'm definitely looking forward to it. The first one, it looks like it's going to be amazing. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to be tuning in all that.
Right on. Well, and I would imagine as an advocate for getting people out on the trails, you're probably also an advocate for North Shore Rescue.
Yeah, North Shore Rescue and all the other search and rescue teams, Coquitlam, Whistler, Squamish. They're all volunteers. It's insane. They're all volunteers, and you know they need stable funding and all that, and you can't say enough about the work they do.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Lang threw a link in there for those who want to find out more. So it is the show is on the Knowledge Network up here in British Columbia. It's kind of our version of PBS in British Columbia for our American listeners. So knowledge.ca/program/search and rescue North Shore. So there you go. I think
just pasted that into the chat.
Yeah, you can stream it from there, I believe. Then
nice. I'm going to go try that tonight.
There you go. Check it out.
Let's go do it right now. Let's stream it live. Let's have a watch party.
Okay. I can't see any problem with that at all.
Yeah, what could possibly?
I don't think there'll be any copyright infringement with that.
No, especially when they'll be our guest next week. That's just brilliant. Yeah, well done. No, we really enjoyed watching it. It's, I mean, I wasn't sure what to expect, and the quality of the program and the quality of the storytelling and just everything was just, I was absolutely stunned. So yeah, definitely highly recommend it, and looking forward to that.
Very cautiously, I clicked play the episode, and you do have to sign up at least. I don't know if it's country locked or not, but you do have to go sign up for the Knowledge Network.
All right. Well, hopefully not country locked, but I guess we'll find out. All right.
I didn't want that to start playing, and we suddenly we're in trouble.
Indeed.
Oh, we're always in trouble.
What's new?
Because we're married men. That's permanent.
Oh, Keats added a FATAS. Working on my second adventure lab. Somehow I received an email on September 2nd and didn't see it until yesterday.
Oh.
Lower Mainland is becoming a hotbed for adventure labs.
Absolutely. So, Stephen, have you heard of these things, these adventure labs?
No, what's an adventure lab? Thought it was a dog.
Yeah. It also is, yes. So it's a variation on the game of geocaching. Is a separate app called Adventure Lab. And so you download this app and you can use it with your geocaching.com credentials. And what it does is it gives you basically, for the most part, 5 waypoint adventures or walking tours that people can create. And so you basically go from point to point to point, and at each point you answer some questions to, sort of score that spot. And so, there's a bit of a gamification to it. But it's a kind of a fun way to go either urban or suburban or, in the woods walks, as long as you've got data, because it does require you to have data in order to be able to play it properly. But people use things like interpretive signs or statuary or things like that to kind of prompt the questions.
That sounds fun. I feel like doing that on a hike for sure.
Yeah, you should check it out. It's definitely worth taking a look at. Like everything, everybody's opinions vary on it, and there's varying levels of quality. But I think most people have done a pretty darn good job with those. So,
cool.
Kind of a self-guided walking tour. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that idea.
There you go. So there you go. Adventure Labs, something else to check out.
Keats was also working on a mystery cache calendar grid challenge. That's a lot of words together.
Yeah.
GC 8 Alpha 0. I forgot.
Charlie.
Whiskey Charlie. Thank you. I'm being super conservative with my mystery cache finding.
There you go.
And Wet Coaster is working on a 360 from home. Now that I'm back out west, I was able to complete it while I was in Toronto. Wow. So that's like a 720 he's working on.
Yeah.
His 360s, right?
Yeah. That's where I read it, yeah.
This is not a skateboard thing, right?
No.
I don't think so. He could do it on a skateboard. No, he needs to find a cache in each degree of the circle of his home.
Oh,
360 degrees from his home.
Got it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Thought he was just doing like a double axle or something.
While finding a cache. Exactly.
Yeah.
Too funny. All right. Well, what do you think? So we got through
holy cow. Rock Chalk has 67 loops of the DT grid.
Overachiever.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow.
That's just not right.
Very-
By the way, no, he couldn't do it on a skateboard.
Hmm.
The geocaching or the 720 or even a 360. You could do a 360 by accident.
Yeah.
Hit a rock and, pirouette. Yeah, anyway.
I can bake cookies at 360.
Ooh, for 20 minutes
Mhm.
or until golden brown.
Something like that.
Hey, folks, until next week, get out and take 105 hikes in the Northwest.